Democrats in Minnesota want the American taxpayer to pay the repair bill for the George Floyd riots, protests, and looting. The NBA tries to out-woke the NFL with new jerseys for the 2020 season. Plus, NBC News leaves out a critical detail in their Akeem Littleton story. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. If you missed Saturday's live show, it was awesome. We had author Chris Adamo talking about his book, Rules for Defeating Radicals. You can check it out right there. It is great. It gives you the tools. We discuss what the left does, how they do it, and how we can fight back. For today, we're going to start with Minnesota because I know we have a relaxed brain on Friday. We have that segment, and it's only Monday. But we're talking about Minnesota. We're talking about Democrats like Governor Tim Walz, like Representative Ilhan Omar. I mean, with Walz, rather than exerting leadership, he let Minneapolis devolve into chaos. Representative Ilhan Omar, her district is the #1 recruiting area for terrorism in the United States. That's where they go if they want to recruit future terrorists. These leaders sat back and watched Minneapolis burn. The riots, the looting, the vandalism, mass destruction, people were hurt, people were killed, businesses wiped out, many aren't coming back. These guys sat back and did nothing. Not only that, they got with the Minneapolis City Council, they'd rather defund the police than put down the riots, put down the looting, put down the vandalism. They praised that, they blasted the police, and now, guess what? Now they want funds from you and me. They want us to pay the repair bill for all of that destruction. And here's the story from the Washington Examiner. President Trump has denied a request from Minnesota's governor for money to rebuild parts of Minneapolis that were destroyed during the riots following the death of George Floyd. The governor is disappointed that the federal government declined his request for financial support, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz's office said in a statement. As we navigate one of the most difficult periods in our state's history, we look for support from our federal government to help us through. Walz, a Democrat, requested that Trump declare Minnesota a major disaster zone in a request to the Federal Emergency Management Agency on July 2nd after more than 1,500 buildings were damaged by looting and rioting in the wake of Floyd's death, totaling over $500 million in damages. So wow. 1,500 buildings, structures were damaged or destroyed, totaling $500 million. And they sat back and they did nothing about it. Ilhan Omar joins this chorus with Walz. She's pushing the same thing. She got on Twitter the other day. She tweeted this. Many of small businesses in North Minneapolis lack the resources to cover the cost to reopen. I see you. I hear you. I'll keep fighting to get emergency relief funds to help businesses rebuild. Here's an idea. How about you don't let them get destroyed in the first place? How about you exert some leadership, some real leadership that says, you want to march? You want to protest? First, you should socially distance. You should wear masks. Remember that. But in any case, don't burn your stuff down. Don't destroy businesses in your own neighborhood. Don't hurt people. Don't destroy cars. Don't destroy property. Give me a break, folks. You don't have a large repair bill if you don't destroy things in the first place. It's absolutely outrageous. And on that tweet, she included a video, news story, her making some comments, and here's part of it that talks about the destruction in the area.
It's a final plea of sorts from North Minneapolis business owners like Flora Westbrooks, one of several people who lost everything during the riots in the wake of George Floyd's death. Now, with nothing left to show for any of it, Westbrooks is calling on our elected officials to step in and help rebuild.
So now people are turning to their elected leaders, all these Democrats around there. Where were those leaders before? Where were those leaders when the protests turned to rioting and looting and vandalism? They were nowhere. And here's more of the report.
We're working on getting emergency relief fund to help rebuild for people like her and her son. We're also working on anti-gentrification and displacement funds.
Well, good luck with all of that. And as I mentioned, President Trump has denied the request. He said federal funds are not going to help repair Minneapolis that these folks let burn down. And as the Washington Examiner reported, Representative Jeff Duncan, yes, there are some Republicans in Minnesota, he got on Twitter to praise the actions of President Trump, and here's what he tweeted. Great news. President Donald Trump has denied Minnesota's disaster request to repair $500 million in damage from the riots. Governors and mayors who ordered police to stand down and watch their cities burn shouldn't get a penny in taxpayer aid. That was awesome. That was an awesome response, and it summed things up perfectly. Then you have conservative radio host Mark Levin. He got on Twitter and he said this. Great decision. The president offered the National Guard, but the pathetic governor waited and waited. And now the Minneapolis City Council votes to abolish its police department. Pay for your own man-made hell. So much for utopia. That was awesome, and good luck to Walz and Omar trying to get us to pay the bill for their incompetence, for their lack of leadership, for their promoting this left-wing narrative and agenda above the public safety of the people that they were elected to defend, to represent, to show leadership to. Good luck with all of that. So next, I want to talk about the NBA. But first, if you're new to the show or if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. We're making our push for 100,000 subscribers by Election Day. 100K by Election Day, and we can do it with your help. All right, so I want to talk about the NBA because we've been talking about the NFL a lot lately. And we've seen story after story. The Washington Redskins are getting pressured. And it's not just a grassroots uprising. It's what I call corporate Marxism. They're coming down on the Washington Redskins. They are actually probably going to announce today that their name is being retired. We have that. We have the NFL caving in to national anthem kneeling. And then we've got people like Brett Favre, former quarterback, comparing Colin Kaepernick as a hero like Pat Tillman. It's absolutely outrageous. So if you're like me and said, you know what, I'm saying goodbye to the NFL, I'm not watching this season, you might not have a place to turn to if you think the NBA is your alternative, because guess what? They are trying to outwoke the NFL. They've got an idea. They're going to put social justice messages on the back of their jersey. So you could either, as a player, have your name on the back or a social justice message. And here's a report from the Sacramento Bee. NBA players throughout the league will promote Black Lives Matter with messages of racial equality and social justice on their jerseys when play resumes later this month at Walt Disney World Resort near Orlando. Los Angeles Lakers star LeBron James said Saturday he has chosen not to participate, but at least 3 members of the Kings organization have joined the movement. Kings guard De'Aaron Fox said he chose anti-racist from the list of NBA's approved messages. Kent Bazemore chose education reform, and Marvin Bagley III chose freedom. Yes, the NBA has these socially justice woke messages on the backs of their jerseys. There's an approved list. So let's take a look at this list and see what pops up. Okay, so you see there's Black Lives Matter, say their names, vote, I can't breathe, justice, peace, equality, freedom, power to the people, justice now, say her name, liberation, see us, hear us, respect us, love us, and on and on and on. So what's missing there? Do you see all lives matter? No. Do you see Americans united? No. Let's all come together? No. You see, but you do see nice Marxist slogans like power to the people and liberation. Those are okay, but no all lives matter. No come together as Americans. No Americans united. What about Trump 2020? You can have Black Lives Matter, which is a bogus movement based on a lie, based on facts that aren't there, but the left wants to push that. How about Trump 2020? How about all lives matter? If you have Black Lives Matter, what about Make America Great Again? Can you do that slogan? Nope. It's not on the NBA's approved list of slogans. So that's what you have to look forward to when you're tuning out the NFL. How about we throw the NBA there too? As a race car driver, let's all just sit back and watch IndyCar racing. That's what I say. That's what I'll be doing. All right, so next we're going to talk about this story from NBC News. But first, I got to tell you about my friends over at Bottle Breacher. Folks, please check them out. This is Made in America company, veteran owned. It's awesome. These are groomsmen gifts, man gifts, promotional items. Just go to bottlebreacher.com, use coupon code BOBBY13 for 15% off your next purchase. All right, let's talk about NBC News because they just jumped right in again with the Black Lives Matter movement, the false narrative, pushing stories that drive an agenda that is not true. Every week we see black on black violence, black deaths. People are dying, and the Black Lives Matter says nothing about it. In fact, there are shootings and killings in Chicago, Atlanta, Detroit, Baltimore, every day, every weekend, yet they don't say anything about it. In fact, these stories, when they list the victims, they often don't put their race in there at all, even though it's happening in epidemic numbers. But you have a black suspect with a white cop, race is listed immediately. That is the identifier. That is the storyline. Well, guess what? There was a black suspect shot, and NBC News did the story by a white police officer. They left out a very critical detail in this story as they're pushing for justice for this suspect, Hakeem Littleton. And here's the report. A tweet from NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt had to be corrected by Twitter users Saturday evening after leaving out an important note about the death of Hakeem Littleton. Littleton was shot by police officers Friday in Detroit, Michigan, and died. The NBC show tweeted that Detroit protesters demand justice after Hakeem Littleton was killed by police, but excluded the note that Littleton was shot after he appeared to take out a weapon and shoot at an officer, according to video footage of the incident. So yeah, NBC News pushes the story that, again, protesters are demanding justice for Hakeem Littleton. Demanding justice. They leave out the part that this suspect pulled out a gun, shot at officers first, it's all covered on video, and then he was shot. They left out that detail, but they're pushing for justice for him. So my question is, what kind of justice are these protesters demanding? Because if you look at the situation, at least from right now, it looks like justice was served. You shoot a cop, you're going to get shot. It doesn't make any sense. Yet NBC News tries to push the narrative that this is white on black violence. You've got another black suspect being killed by the cops. They leave out the detail that he was shot first. Here's more of the story. Warning video of suspect who opened fire on police. One Twitter user responded with a YouTube link showing footage of the apparent attack. Numerous other Twitter users pointed out the video footage shows Littleton firing at police officers. The original tweet linked to a video of NBC News correspondent Kathy Park reporting on Littleton's death. Park did note that video footage shows Littleton taking what appears to be a weapon and firing at an officer, although NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt did not include this in its tweet. I like the part that it says it appears to be a weapon. You see on video a guy taking something out, aiming it at police, something comes out, and yet it appears to be a weapon. If something is being shot at an officer, that's a weapon. It doesn't appear to be one. It is one. It's absolutely ridiculous. But again, this is the narrative that they push. This is the narrative that's going on. It's absolutely outrageous. So next, I want to talk about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez because we focused on her this weekend with the Goya Foods boycott. I mean, it was just so outrageous, and leave it to her to turn a situation that she wants to promote some left-wing narrative and make it good for us. If you didn't miss this story, President Trump invited Hispanic leaders to the White House to sign an executive order to have a roundtable discussion on ways to help the Hispanic community, in particular with education. So one of the people they brought up to speak was the CEO of Goya Foods, Babu Nanwe. He talked about his company, how it started in the 1930s when his grandfather came over from Spain. It's now a multi-billion-dollar company. He talked about all the charitable giving they do to the Hispanic community, but he made a terrible sin. He committed a terrible sin in the eyes of the left, and that is for one moment in his speech, he said something nice about President Trump.
We're all truly blessed at the same time to have a leader like President Trump, who is a builder. And that's what my grandfather did. He came to this country to build, to grow, to prosper. And so we have an incredible builder, and we pray. We pray for our leadership, our president, and we pray for our country.
All right, so that brought out the attacks from the left. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says we need to boycott Unanue and Goya Foods. Don't go over there. So again, Here's a company that benefits, that helps the Hispanic community, and she'll chop off her nose to spite her face and say they need to be boycotted. Well, guess what? It is backfiring like crazy. There's so many people around the country who had never even heard of Goya Foods. Now they are participating in a boycott. And here's the story. Many people took to social media to express their displeasure with Goya Foods CEO Robert Unanue after he praised President Trump at a White House event on Thursday. But others are flipping the narrative and calling for a Goya Foods boycott. My brother came up with a terrific idea, and I am encouraging all to join me in purchasing $10 worth of Goya food products and donating them to your local food bank. Self-described conservatarian radio host Mike Upalka wrote on Twitter. Let's push a boycott, not a boycott. Let's show the hashtag Goya Away people what compassion can do. I love seeing that, folks. And in the story on Fox News, it goes on and on. People are putting GoFundMe pages together to raise money, which will be used to buy Goya Foods for food banks and other charitable donations and giving. It's absolutely awesome. And this just shows how it backfires on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Amazon wants to bring 25,000 jobs to her district. She says no, because they're an evil corporation, even though it would benefit in billions of dollars the people in her district. Here, this company does so much for Hispanics across the country, she wants to boycott them. Look how it's turning out. It's absolutely awesome. All right, folks, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, and when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified, and we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is the 13-Minute News Hour. Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified. And here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-Minute News Hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.